Today, Donald Trump went to the Kennedy Center, which he has recently claimed to rename in his own honor. They were there to hang out with the House Republicans who were on retreat, and Trump gave a 90-minute rambling speech to the group and at one point begged members of his party to tell him why his policies are so unpopular.
People, most of you are in this business longer than me. That makes me smarter than you. Because look where I am, right? No, it doesn't. But I wish you could explain to me what the hell's going on with the mind of the public, because we have the right policy. They don't. They have a horrible policy.
You can't figure out why Americans are rejecting him as he threatens to invade more Latin American countries to annex Greenland while slow-rolling the Epstein files, relitigating the 2020 election, and doing absolutely nothing amidst all this about spiraling costs. Senator Chris Murphy is a Democrat of Connecticut. He serves on the Foreign Relations Committee, and he joins me now. Senator, I want to read this again because it's a rare moment of self-awareness. I wish you could explain to me what the hell is going on with the mind of the public. Usually it's a lot of bravado about how he's got a 90% approval rating. At some level inside that White House, they're seeing the numbers and know they are on the wrong side of public opinion on just about everything right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing that it appears somebody told him how wildly, historically unpopular he is. I mean, listen, his worldview is a consequence of who he spends his time with. He surrounds himself with yes men who are trying to operationalize the White House for their own personal political projects or to get rich. When he's not at the White House, and he's mostly not at the White House, he's at Mar-a-Lago or on the golf course with sycophants and billionaires and corporate CEOs. And for that crowd, of course, everything's going well. And for that crowd, Venezuela is going to turn out really nifty because the oil industry will make money. Wall Street's already making money, especially those who had made big bets on distressed debt. And so, yeah, he throws his arms up and he's like, everybody that I golf with tells me that things are just peachy. And finally, it appears that somebody told him that for the rest of the country who doesn't get down to Mar-a-Lago, things are really, really bad this January as prices go up, as premiums double, and as the economy still grinds to a screeching halt.
Yeah, I was looking at data today about losing blue-collar jobs, which has been happening over the last few months. That was very interesting data, and it's really been quite a precipitous drop-off. The tariffs are very unpopular. And amidst all this, at a point where I think to the extent there's any advice being given to him internally, it's focus on prices, focus on people's domestic concerns. He's starting a new 21st century version of American imperial smash and grab across two continents. How seriously are you taking the noises they're making about doing the same to Colombia or Mexico to Cuba, and now the latest they're saying about Greenland?
Yeah, listen, I mean, the sort of lid is off in his second term, and he's realizing that he can, kind of get away with a lot more than he was told that he could get away with in his first term. And to Donald Trump, everything is real estate. Everything is real estate. So that's why all of his focus is on controlling more stuff, building more stuff, whether it be his ballroom, whether it be getting control of oil fields in Venezuela, or maybe even the entire landmass of Greenland. And so I was somebody last year who scolded my colleagues when they would respond to him on Greenland or Panama. I'd say, this is all distraction. This is just clickbait. I don't know that it is any longer. And so I think you have to take his threats to Greenland more seriously. And if it happens, obviously that's really cataclysmic because it's the end of the U.S.-European alliance as far as we understand it, which has huge sweeping consequences for the United States. But it's just another project that he's involved in, another real estate project that has nothing to do with what actually matters to the American people. And it's just sort of more evidence that he is focused on everything except for improving the economy, bringing back those blue-collar jobs that we've been losing under Trump, and doing something about the spiraling out-of-control costs.
That point you made is interesting. I think I had a somewhat similar feeling about the Greenland stuff in the beginning, at least. I do think a big part of this is the Mercator projection, which shows Greenland as being very, very large because the way the Mercator projection works, it's very northerly biased. But I got to say, I feel hearing the Greenland stuff, and they put out a statement today where they said force is on the table. Marco Rubio saying that he's telling lawmakers that it's not an imminent invasion. The goal is to buy the island, according to people familiar. I do feel a little like I'm in a crowded room watching a 12-year-old play with a loaded weapon. Like, the stuff we're playing with here it's kind of the core of like what starts world wars. I mean, really, I don't think that's an overstatement, right?
Yeah, it's so sad for me to hear you say, I think it has something to do with the Mercator projection. Like, that's where our politics have come to, that we have to think about the kind of maps that we are showing our imbecile president of the United States. But yeah, this seems more serious now, because that is certainly the kind of thing that can set dominoes off. We shouldn't put Venezuela in our rearview mirror. Nope. Just today, you're starting to see some unrest in the capital. That is a place full of very dangerous guerrilla groups. What does he think our obligation is? Should, his chosen leader, Delcy Rodriguez, be disposed? That could get more messy. But the consequence of Greenland becoming an actual thing we have to worry about is earth-shattering, because it is the end of NATO. It is a massive interruption in the U.S.-European alliance structure. And if you listen, I think people are sort of tired of being told that they should care about Europe, but there is really no way to manage and confront the rise of China without the United States and Europe working together. And so Greenland, if he ever did anything to try to move there, would just be the biggest gift ever constructed for China, because they would get kind of a free ride to global primacy as the United States and Europe were at war with each other. So that's a big deal, and we should probably stop thinking about it as a sideshow.
Yeah, and I think there's probably going to be some votes on this coming up this week in the Senate, which I do think will be useful exercises, to get people on the record about congressional approval for further incursions into Venezuela, as well as to other places. We'll look for where everyone's voting on that. Senator Chris Murphy, thank you.